An event organised by women's rights group FiLiA successfully went ahead in Glasgow this weekend, despite attempts to shut it down by trans activists. Susan Smith, a director of For Women Scotland, attended the event. She joins me now. Susan, can you hear me? Thanks for joining me.
Yes,
could you tell us a little bit about the event, the FiLiA event that took place in Glasgow this weekend?
So FiLiA is the largest feminist conference in Europe, possibly the world, but the data's not there, but it's huge. And there were 1,500 women there this weekend. There were another, I think, 800 on the waiting list who can get tickets. So it's a massive event. It features women from all over the world, covering lots of topics. So you've got people coming in from countries like Iran, Afghanistan, talking about specific issues in their countries, talking about things like FGM, about forced marriage, about male violence, all these things. But it's about women's issues and women's rights. And because of that, it's been targeted by people who don't actually like the idea of women having a conference to talk about things that affect women, which is shocking because FiLiA is not there to talk about trans issues, but they've decided to target it anyway.
And we saw footage of people outside the conference screaming abuse at women going along to discuss their rights. It was quite shocking. Did you see any of the protests?
I didn't get there on Friday morning, but I saw the footage of it, and I know the individual who was leading that. He has protested events that we have done. He protested an event at at Edinburgh University not so long ago. He shouts abuse. He was shouting F you at women in the line. At the university, I remember he was shouting ageist comments. He was saying you all smell. He's childish and stupid and offensive. And he then went on, because he'd been kind of caught out, because people came back and said, but actually this conference is about a very broad range of topics. What issue do you have with some of the organisations? And they were cited at him who were there, who he would probably pretend he supports. He said, oh, no, I wasn't shouting at them. I was just shouting at the bigots.
Well, I mean, that's interesting, isn't it?
Women standing there in a queue know which one of them is being abused when
yes.
with a microphone yelling at them.
I mean, this kind of thing suggests that misogyny is still very much a problem, doesn't it? And that's one of the reasons why the conference is so needed.
Yeah, absolutely. But, to me, the thing that was, I think, the most shocking, because I expected idiots like that to do this because they're stupid and they don't know what they're about. But there were two Glasgow councillors standing next to him. Now, one of them is trans and was quoted in the press as saying, well, I want this conference to go ahead. But it was the language of abusers, really. I want this to happen, but I want them to do it my way.
Right.
And then I'll let them. So that was one thing. But then there was a woman who has said she wants to make Glasgow the feminist city. Sits as the chair of the partnership Glasgow Violence Against Women, and she was outside protesting when she could have been inside engaging. And that was, to me, that was the most awful thing. And I mentioned in my speech this morning the fact that these councillors have been there. And a woman came up to me afterwards and she was really upset because she'd been working with this councillor. This councillor had said, I care about issues about violence against women. Yeah. And she was absolutely devastated to hear that she just had taken this knee-jerk reaction. She's an elected representative. She should not have been doing that. This is an amazing event, and she should have been there engaging.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there needs to be more dialogue, effectively, is the message of this story. Susan Smith, thanks so much for joining me tonight. Really appreciate it.